Back by popular demand, now we'll take you deep into the real-life hoods falling down. From downtown LA to Linwood and ending at Venice Beach, this one's going to be a wild ride. Alright, let's roll. Falling Down is a 1993 thriller, starring Michael Douglas as William Defense Foster. Defense is a divorced, unemployed engineer, just trying to get to his ex-wife's house. His daughter lives there, and it's his little girl's birthday. Just your average American, real salt of the earth. But Defense soon reaches his boiling point, and it's all bad from there. Lee's Market. We first meet Defense sitting in his car on the 101 interchange of the 110 freeway. Traffic is gridlocked. It's hot as hell. The noise and pollution making him lose his marbles. Abandoning his car, he runs up the 101 North on-ramp. We next see him go inside Lee's convenience store at 464 North Madison Avenue. 2 blocks to the west is BDS 13 Hood, or Black Diamonds 13. Originally a football team, they became a Sureño gang sometime in the mid-1980s. They had a presence in East Hollywood, getting bigger as the city school district bused students to faraway schools to control overcrowding. Just east of Lee's store is Temple Street Hood. TST is an old gang, founded in the early 1920s and named after one of the oldest streets in LA. Their enemies include the Crazies, Rockwood Street Locos, Drifters, and the aforementioned Black Diamonds. Temple Street could literally travel just 4 blocks to war with the Black Diamonds, which is not uncommon in gangland LA. Just northwest of TST territory is White Fence Hood. Another old barrio, White Fence 13 has intense rivalries with 18th Street, Armenian Power, MS, Crip sets like the 8-Tray Gangsters, Rollin' 60s, and many more. White Fence started in 1939 in Boyle Heights. They're so old, gangs like Barrio Nuevo Estrada, Big Hazard, and Evergreen were once cliques of White Fence, eventually breaking off to become their own gangs. Between the Zoot Suit riots and their 4 generations beef with El Hoyo Maravilla, there's a lot of history to White Fence. When Falling Down was filmed in 1993, a different set of gangs seemed to rule the streets of Lee's Market. If you look at this still, you'll notice graffiti from 3 completely different gangs. La Mirada Locos crossed out Rockwood Street, putting a big V, meaning Barrio, boldly marking their hood. They used to bang alongside a smaller set called Earth Dogs, teaming up to fight common enemies. You know, power in numbers. LML also crossed out a faint Pyru tag, but the writing was too messy for us to make out which Pyru blood set. Sittin in the park. Moving on, after Bill Defense Foster stood up for his rights as a consumer, he decided to rest his heels on a grassy hilltop, where 2 vatos harassed and attempted to rob him. That random spot is now in Vista Hermosa Natural Park. Unless Defense walked 30 blocks southeast, it didn't really make sense that he'd be there. But hey, this is the movies, and we'll show this happening again in the film. The gang that calls this park home is Diamond Street, not to be confused with Black Diamonds. Diamond Street is an old set. Started in 1910, with some accounts dating back to 1905. They went to war with Temple Street, Echo Park, Crazies, and others. Fun fact, actor, author, and convicted felon Edward Bunker was a member of Diamond Street. In his memoir, Education of a Felon, he talks about joining Diamond Street in the late 1940s when he was a teenager and had the hand tattoo to prove it. You'll definitely remember him from this little movie where he played Mr. Blue. The Drive-By. After Defense makes a phone call to his ex-wife Beth, the sharpshooters he beat up at the hilltop want revenge and do a drive-by on him. Located near the intersection of 2524 East Cesar Chavez at North Fickett Street, you might also remember the same mural in the movie Colors. This is East LA 13, Duke's neighborhood. Originating in the Aliso housing projects in Boyle Heights, they're sworn enemies with Barrio Nuevo Estrada, MC Forcero, crazy-ass Mexicans, etc. Defense steals a bag of guns from the car wreck, full of injured and dead bangers. This will be important to note in the next spot, which is in Westlake, MacArthur Park. This is where Defense had a homeless man beg him for money.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
Bro was happy as fuck when Defense gave him his briefcase.
Are you serious? I don't need it anymore. All right.
Funny scene and symbolic of Defense's transformation from victim to armed vigilante.
I am not a vigilante.
He didn't need his briefcase anymore. No longer a working stiff, he's on a mission now. The park itself is a sort of demilitarized zone, but on all sides you have active gangs. To the west is Mara Salvatrucha Hood. Then you have 18th Street controlling a big territory on the north and east end. South of the park is a Crazy Rider stronghold. As you can see in this recent pic, they're still going at it with 18. Burlington Street Locals holds down the east side blocks, behind the Metro Rail station. Further south at Toberman Park was also BNLS Hood, but our sources say it's 18th Street Vadio now. If anyone can confirm this, drop a comment below. The rap group Psycho Realm would have something to say about this. MCs Sick Jackin and Duke grew up across from Toberman Park. Back in the 80s, it was definitely Burlington Hood. Sick never repped a gang, so suffice it to say him and Duke grew up around some Burlingtons. In his lyrics to Everything Off, Sick raps, "I've been in the game but I chose to stay awake. I don't keep up with nobody, I just keep it in my lane." Yup, sounds like homie put all the rumors to rest. Whammy Burger. Is anyone hungry? Defense sure was when he stopped for a bite at Whammy Burger, located in Linwood at 10990 Atlantic Avenue. It's actually Angelo's Burgers. We heard their burgers are good. Maybe that's why Defense walked 25 miles to Linwood from MacArthur Park.
I see you got jokes.
This restaurant is in Linwood Vadio Young Crowd and Pope Avenue Crips Hood. Crossing Atlantic Avenue, these guys would run into Linwood Vadio Southside and Walnut Block Crips. The WB Crips have been around since the late 80s. That WIP stands for Walnut and Peace, and they often pay respect to their slain members, Peanut and Wacko. Whammy Burger is where Defense finally lost it. Yes, he shot the gangbanger who tried to kill him, but he was not a quote-unquote civilian. They were basically soldiers engaging in urban warfare, and in Defense's mind, shooting that vato's leg was eye for an eye. This time, however, Defense endangered civilians, women and kids. When Whammy no longer served breakfast, Defense said,
"The customer is always right."
Not getting his way at a fast food restaurant sounds like a minor incident, one that most people would brush off. But little things like that have a way of eating away at us. Still, becoming violent because of perceived slights is a whole nother animal. Not economically viable. 5350 Wilshire Boulevard. This is where not economically viable man was protesting the bank's discriminatory policies. Funny, but he's really credited as not economically viable man. If you know LA, then you'd be surprised there's gangs operating in Miracle Mile. Well, 3 blocks south of Wilshire. Mansfield Gangster Crips have a big hood down here, sharing some of it with Drifters 13. Mansfield Gangster Crips started in 1981 by 2 John Burroughs junior high students, nicknamed Coco and J-Rock. At first, they called themselves Mansfield Hustlers, sporting Fila gear and funding their party lifestyle. By 1988, they dropped the Hustlers from their name and went all in, rebranding themselves as the Mansfield Gangster Crips. Drifters, meanwhile, started in the west and mid-city area of Pico Boulevard and spread far and wide. The gang's economic mobility didn't just include Wilshire and Miracle Mile. They're also big in Orange County, in cities like Anaheim, Santa Ana, and Garden Grove. A short list of their enemies include 18th Street, Crazy Riders, Armenian Power, Harpies, Easy Riders, Burlington Street, Playboys, King Cobras, and Rockwood Street. They used to get along with Rockwood, and word on the street was they'd click up to become Driftwood. But that ship has sailed, and now they're enemies. Nick, the Nazi. This next scene at the Army-Navy surplus is a favorite among Falling Down fans. Located at 3828 Sunset Boulevard in Silver Lake, it's another Temple Street hood, with White Fence a few blocks to the west. Take a look at the store now. It's a trendy thrift shop. They went from selling brand new Carhartt jackets for $60 to selling used, vintage Carhartt for $400. Since we already covered White Fence and TST, let's keep it moving. Rocket Man. After Nick the store owner fucked around and found out, Defense scored some serious artillery in the form of an M72 Law. Better known as a bazooka, he seems pretty eager to fire that thing and gets his chance when a Caltrans worker grinds his gears. This scene was filmed in Westmont on the intersection of South Broadway at West 112th Street. Westside 11 Deuce Broadway Gangster Crips Hood. Formed in the 1970s, their comrades, the 5 Deuce Broadway Crips, made national news back in 2014. The FBI and LAPD arrested 72 members. The indictment alleged everything from racketeering to murder to follow-home robberies, intimidating witnesses, attempted murder on 2 cops, and dealing drugs in Skid Row. If you want to know more, just look up Operation Gremlin Riders. There's a lot to unpack there. Venice Beach. The surf, sun, and sand. Now we can take off our Dodgers jerseys, feel the cool breeze, and relax, right? Not so fast. Not in LA. Defense's ex-wife's house might be a stone's throw away from the beach, but this is still gangland LA. Tourists and law-abiding Angelenos aren't the only ones who want to visit the boardwalk. This stretch of the coastline is Venice 13 and Venice Shoreline Crips hood. Back in '93, a gangster can really get caught slipping here. Not just from the warring shorelines and V13s, but skater punk gangs were also wreaking havoc. Defense and Prendergast finally meet face-to-face and have their final duel on the Venice Pier. No spoilers for those who haven't watched this classic thriller. Falling Down is a brilliant character study, a movie that aged really well. You sympathize with Defense at first, then the movie makes you think, what happens when you're an average hardworking American who's pushed to the limit? Want to know just how bad it was in LA back in the day? Then click here and here. And show us some love by giving this video a thumbs up. And comment below what movie we should do next. Thank you for watching. Peace.